The family group chat had been buzzing for weeks about Madison's graduation party. My younger sister was finishing her MBA, and my parents had planned an elaborate celebration at the country club. Catered dinner, open bar, slideshow of accomplishments. The date was set for Saturday, June 8th, and attendance was mandatory. "Emma, you're coming, right?" my mother had asked during our last phone call. "Your father and I expect the whole family there." "I have a doctor's appointment that morning," I'd said carefully. "But I should be done in time." "Cancel it," my father's voice had cut in from speaker. "Your routine checkup can wait. This is your sister's big day." Routine checkup. That's what my family called the appointments I'd been having with Dr. Sarah Chin, a hepatologist at University Medical Center. For 3 months, I'd experienced severe abdominal pain, jaundice, and unexplained weight loss. My GP had referred me after blood work showed elevated liver enzymes and a CT scan revealed masses on my liver. Dr. Chin suspected hepatocellular carcinoma, liver cancer. Friday's appointment wasn't routine. It was a follow-up after a liver biopsy to confirm diagnosis and discuss treatment. "It's not exactly routine," I tried to explain. Dr. Chin said it's important. "Emma, you're 32 years old," my mother had interrupted. "You're too young for anything serious. These doctors order tests for everything nowadays. I'm sure it's nothing, but even if they found something minor, it can wait until after Madison's party." I was a pharmaceutical research scientist with a PhD in molecular biology, currently director of research operations at BioCure Pharmaceuticals. I made $287,000 annually overseeing clinical trials and research funding. I understood medicine, disease progression, and that liver cancer doesn't wait for family parties. But I'd made the mistake of not emphasizing severity to my family, trying not to worry them until I had confirmed results. Friday morning I sat in Dr. Chen's office and received the news I'd dreaded. The biopsy confirmed hepatocellular carcinoma, stage 3. The tumors were large and numerous. I needed treatment immediately, likely surgical resection followed by chemotherapy and possibly transplant evaluation. "Emma, I know this is overwhelming," Dr. Chen said gently. "But we need to move quickly. I want to admit you today for pre-surgical workup. We're looking at surgery early next week." Today. My mind immediately went to Madison's party tomorrow. "Can it wait until Monday?" "I really don't recommend waiting. Your liver function is already compromised." She paused. "Is there something happening this weekend?" "My sister's graduation party. Tomorrow afternoon." Dr. Chin looked at me with understanding but firm resolve. "Emma, you have cancer. You're being admitted today. Your family will understand." But they didn't. When I called my mother from hospital admissions, her response was immediate and sharp. "Emma, you cannot do this to your sister. Not today. Not this weekend. Mom, I have liver cancer. I'm being admitted for pre-surgical testing." "Liver cancer," she repeated, skepticism clear. "Emma, that's ridiculous. You don't drink, you don't have hepatitis. Liver cancer doesn't just appear. Your doctor is being dramatic. She's a hepatologist. The biopsy confirmed. Biopsies can be wrong. Tests can be misread." My mother's voice took on that tone I knew too well. "Emma, I think you're having health anxiety again and this doctor is feeding into it. Come to Madison's party tomorrow. We'll sort this out next week. I'm being admitted to the hospital right now. I can't just leave. Then discharge yourself. Emma, think about what you're doing. You're going to ruin your sister's celebration over what is probably nothing." My father took the phone. "Emma, be reasonable. We've spent $15,000 on this party. 200 guests are coming. Whatever is going on with your health can wait 48 hours. Dad, I have cancer." "So you claim," he said, the words hitting like a slap. "Emma, you've been to a dozen doctors this year. Forgive us for being skeptical when you suddenly have cancer the same weekend as your sister's major life event." They hung up. The family group chat exploded. "Madison, seriously, Emma? You're doing this now? Tyler, can't you just go to the party and check into the hospital Sunday?" I turned off my phone and let the nurses admit me. Friday night I underwent a battery of tests. Saturday morning, Dr. Chin came to my room with concerning news. "Emma, your liver is deteriorating faster than we anticipated. We can't wait until next week. I've scheduled emergency surgery for this afternoon." We need to remove the largest tumor now before it causes complete hepatic failure. Emergency surgery. Today. I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you wanted. Do you have family who can be here? I thought about my family at the country club, celebrating Madison with champagne and speeches. No. There's no one. While I was being prepped for surgery, my family was at the country club. I knew because Tyler posted photos to Instagram. Madison in a white dress cutting cake, my parents beaming, the caption reading, "Celebrating our brilliant daughter. So proud. #family first." I went into surgery at 3 p.m. The same time Madison was giving her thank you speech about her supportive family who'd always believed in her. The surgery lasted 6 hours. Dr. Chin removed a portion of my liver containing 3 large tumors. The pathology would take days, but the cancer was confirmed. I'd need chemotherapy and close monitoring. I woke up in the ICU Sunday morning, intubated and in pain. No family members were there. No one had called the hospital. Monday morning my phone showed 47 missed calls and 83 text messages. But they weren't asking about my surgery. They were angry I'd missed the party. "Madison, you embarrassed me in front of everyone." My mother, "Emma, we need to talk about your selfish behavior this weekend." Tyler, "Dad spent $15,000 and you couldn't show up for 2 hours?" I deleted all the messages without responding. Tuesday afternoon, still in ICU, I had an unexpected visitor. Dr. Richard Brennan, Dean of Medicine at University Medical Center's teaching hospital, knocked on my door frame. "Dr. Cooper," he said formally, then his expression softened seeing me in the hospital bed. "Emma, I heard you were here. I'm so sorry about your diagnosis." Dr. Brennan and I knew each other professionally. BioCure Pharmaceuticals was one of the largest research funders for the university's medical school. As Director of Research Operations, I sat on multiple grant review committees with final approval authority over millions in research funding. "Thank you for coming," I said, surprised. "Dr. Chin mentioned your case in our department meeting, not by name initially, but discussing a patient with stage 3 HCC who'd undergone emergency surgery this weekend. She mentioned the patient's family missed the surgery because they were at a party and didn't believe the diagnosis was serious. When she said the patient was a research scientist in pharma, I put it together." He pulled up a chair. "Emma, I have to ask. Your family didn't believe you had cancer. They thought I was being dramatic. They said liver cancer was too rare, that I was too young, probably just anxious." Dr. Brennan's expression darkened. "And they didn't come to the hospital? Even after you told them you were having emergency surgery?" "They didn't know about the emergency surgery. I couldn't reach them during the party and after the things they said." I trailed off. "What things?" I told him everything. The phone calls where my parents insisted I discharge myself. The group chat messages calling me selfish. The accusation that I was making up my diagnosis to ruin Madison's celebration. Dr. Brennan listened in silence, his expression growing progressively more disturbed. "Emma, I need to ask you something. Do any of your family members work in healthcare or have connection to this medical center?" "My father is Dr. Robert Cooper. He's a cardiologist with teaching privileges here. He does grand rounds once a month with medical students." Dr. Brennan's jaw tightened. "Dr. Robert Cooper is your father?" "Yes." "And Dr. Robert Cooper, a physician with teaching privileges at this institution, told his daughter to discharge herself from the hospital despite a cancer diagnosis requiring emergency surgery?" When he put it that way, it sounded even worse. "He didn't believe the diagnosis was real. He's a doctor. He understands medical documentation. He knew you were being admitted by a hepatology specialist." He stood up, professional demeanor shifting to something serious. "Emma, I need your permission to review your medical records and documentation of your family's communications during your hospitalization." "Why?" "Because if a physician with teaching privileges demonstrated gross medical negligence and family abandonment during a medical crisis, that's relevant to his fitness to teach our medical students. We're training future doctors to care for patients. We can't have someone teaching them who told his own daughter to ignore a cancer diagnosis for a party." I gave him permission. Wednesday morning my mother finally called. Not to ask about my health but to scream. "Emma, what did you do? Your father just received a letter suspending his teaching privileges pending investigation. They're saying he demonstrated medical negligence, and patient abandonment. Did you report him? I didn't file anything. Dean Brennan asked to review my medical records. You gave them permission to investigate your own father? Emma, do you understand what this could do to his career? Do you understand what you did to me? I had emergency surgery to remove cancer from my liver. I was alone in the ICU while you were all at a party. You told me to discharge myself from the hospital. You said I was making it up. We didn't know it was that serious. I told you I had cancer. You chose not to believe me because it was inconvenient. She hung up. Thursday morning, Dean Brennan returned with Dr. Patricia Williams, the hospital's chief medical officer, and 2 ethics board members. Dr. Cooper, Dr. Williams said formally, we've completed our preliminary review. We have some questions if you're feeling up to it. I answered their questions. Yes, I told my parents about the cancer diagnosis. Yes, I'd explained I was being admitted. Yes, my father, a cardiologist, had told me to discharge myself and that I was probably making it up. Yes, they'd all chosen to attend a party instead of being present for my emergency surgery. The ethics board members took notes in silence. Emma, Dean Brennan said, I want to be clear about what happens next. Your father's teaching privileges are being formally revoked. A physician who demonstrates such profound lack of medical judgment and empathy cannot be trusted to teach our medical students. He told a patient with confirmed hepatocellular carcinoma to delay treatment for a social event. That's indefensible. He's going to blame me, I said quietly. He should blame himself, Dr. Williams responded. Additionally, we're reviewing his patient care practices. If he demonstrated this level of dismissiveness toward his own daughter's cancer diagnosis, we need to ensure he hasn't done the same to patients under his care. Friday afternoon, the story broke through the medical community's grapevine. Dr. Robert Cooper had his teaching privileges revoked for medical negligence after telling his daughter to skip cancer treatment for a family party. My phone exploded with messages. My mother, you've destroyed your father's reputation. Madison, Dad's career is ruined because you couldn't wait one weekend. Tyler, you're dead to this family. I blocked all of them. The following week, still recovering in the hospital, I received a formal letter from BioCure's legal department. They'd been contacted by University Medical Center regarding the upcoming research funding cycle. The medical school had submitted several grant applications requiring my committee's review. One application caught my attention. A cardiology research program listing Dr. Robert Cooper as principal investigator. The grant request was for $2.3 million over 3 years. As Director of Research Operations, I had final approval authority. I reviewed the application thoroughly and professionally. The research design was solid, the methodology sound, the potential outcomes significant. But the section requiring disclosure of disciplinary actions gave me pause. Dr. Cooper had disclosed nothing, despite his recent teaching privilege revocation and ongoing ethics investigation. That was a material omission. Grant applications required full disclosure of circumstances that might affect the investigator's ability to conduct ethical research. I denied the application. Not out of revenge, but because the principal investigator had demonstrated a pattern of medical negligence and failed to disclose disciplinary actions. My decision was reviewed by 2 other committee members, both of whom agreed. The denial letter went out 3 weeks later. The letter specifically cited concerns about principal investigators' ethical judgment and undisclosed disciplinary actions. My father called me for the first time since my surgery. You petty vindictive. I reviewed your grant application objectively, I interrupted. You failed to disclose your teaching privilege revocation and ongoing ethics investigation. That's a material omission violating grant application requirements. Any member of my committee would have denied it. You've destroyed my career, my reputation, my research funding, all because we missed your surgery. You told me my cancer diagnosis could wait. You said I was making it up. You chose a party over emergency surgery. And you're Dr. Dad. You knew better. You've cost me everything. You cost yourself everything. And you almost cost me my life. I hung up. 3 months later, I was recovering well. The chemotherapy was brutal, but my latest scans showed no remaining cancer. My prognosis was cautiously optimistic. The ethics investigation had concluded. Dr. Robert Cooper had lost his teaching privileges permanently and been reported to the state medical board. Multiple former patients had come forward describing how he dismissed their cardiac symptoms as anxiety. His hospital privileges had been restricted. He could still practice, but only with additional oversight and mandatory ethics training. My family sent one final collective message. Emma, your father has lost everything. Your mother is devastated. Madison's achievement has been overshadowed. You've destroyed this family over a misunderstanding. I read it once, then deleted it. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was medical negligence. It was a father who was a doctor telling his daughter to ignore cancer treatment for a party. They'd ignored my ICU stay for a sister's graduation party. They'd insisted my checkup could wait while I underwent emergency surgery alone. I'd reviewed the medical school's funding request with professional objectivity and found material omissions. Their teaching privileges got revoked because they had no business teaching future doctors. I'd survived the cancer, the surgery, and the family who told me their party was more important than my life. Because sometimes the most malignant thing isn't the tumor. It's the family of doctors who refuse to treat you like a patient worth saving.